Head of Cricket Operations. Now, this is a massive title, and a lot of people want to know, what does the head of cricket operations really do? How different is it from a coach, the captain? What do you do, Mike?
I mean, it's the end-to-end business of cricket.
Okay.
So that's probably the easiest way to put it. So you're talking about your sports science department, your scouting department, obviously the cricket side. So Simon sort of looks after the coaches. Obviously we've got the physios, the strength and conditioners. We've got our data capture department. So we obviously get all that. So I'm looking after all of that. And obviously, I deal a lot with the captain and the coach. So the three of us have done a heck of a lot of work together to make sure we're aligned and make sure that we're heading in a direction that we want RCB to follow. So, but it's a bit more all-encompassing than just as a head coach, which I've been involved in previously.
One piece of news that's really made headlines of late from RCB is the fact that we have a psychologist on board, and the topic of mental health is so big in India at the moment. Just to understand, what is the role of the psychologist, and why did you think mental health is so important in a tournament of this size?
Yeah, well, look, I've been involved obviously with more international teams, for a long period of time, and it's something that we felt was always really important to have access to sports psychologists. And when you look at the IPL and the pressure players are under day to day, it made sense that we were to provide that support. So, we looked into it right at the very start and saying, look, if RCB wants to have the best support staff as a franchise available, what are we missing? And we felt we were missing the consistency of a medical doctor, and also from a sports science point of view, we felt we had a gap there. So we looked to employ both, and we did that well in advance of the previous IPL and well in advance of this pandemic that we're dealing with now. I guess we're just very fortunate now that we've got these people in place and they're well ensconced in our team. They can deal with an abundance of issues that have arisen. So the sports psychologist has a variety of roles. Once again, it depends on the individual needs and the relationship they have with the player. A number of our players have already engaged with Dr. Chaitanya Shridhar, and she's able to, get to know the player and identify, where potentially those holes are and how they can help. Obviously, being stuck in a room for 82 days will have its challenges for some more than others. Playing in front of an empty stadium will have different challenges. So it's around working with the player and making sure they've got good routines and are really comfortable. So when we arrive at the IPL, that they're really confident in all their skills.
Mike, just to indulge a little more in this question, do you identify it, or do you expect the players to come up and speak to you and say, hey coach, I'm going through this, I really need some help?
It's a little bit of both. Firstly, it's about introduction and realising that...
Because there could be a stigma, right?
100%. And you never make anything like this compulsory. It's about players identifying a need, or somebody identifying a need and then talking to the player about it, and ultimately the player needs to decide to say, yes, this is something that I want to explore. And it's certainly these days it's very well understood and respected more than it's not necessarily sitting on a couch and talking through all of your issues. It's not that at all. There's so many different parts to sports psychology, but it's all about maximising performance, and it's all about looking after the athlete as well. So there's a duty of care element in terms of, we think we need to provide this to help our players look after themselves, not just because of what's happened recently, but also to enhance performance.